All right, picture this scene with me. It's August 26th, 1346, and two massive medieval armies are about to clash in northern France. But here's the thing. This isn't just another medieval battle, you know what I mean? This changes everything about warfare forever. If this were a soccer match, it'd be the ultimate tactical showdown between two completely different philosophies, right? On one side, you've got the French coach, King Philippe VI, managing his team like a total Galácticos-style manager would. He's got all the star players, the biggest names in Europe, the most expensive squad money can buy, you feel me? On the other side, Edward III of England, who manages his team like Simeone meets Mourinho in the most intense way possible. Low block defensive master, discipline freak, obsessed with training drills. His philosophy is system over stars, always and forever. Now here's what's absolutely crazy about this matchup. France has roughly 3 times more soldiers than England does. France brings maybe 30,000 to 40,000 troops to this field, while England shows up with only around 12,000 soldiers total. See the gap? So what happens when the expensive star-studded team finally meets the disciplined tactical team on the battlefield? Let's find out together. Okay, let's rewind the clock a bit here. Why are these two kingdoms even fighting each other? That's a really good question. This whole complicated mess started way back in the year 1337, and it's called the 100 Years' War for obvious reasons. Imagine two rival soccer clubs fighting over league ownership, broadcasting rights, sponsorship deals. Basically everything valuable, that's what this is. See, England's king actually owned valuable land inside France, especially Gascony, which was super valuable wine-producing territory around Bordeaux. The tax money collected from Bordeaux wine sales, it was actually more than what England collected from its entire country combined. Absolutely insane, right? Then there's the Flanders region. That's the Belgium area, which had the biggest textile manufacturing industry in all of medieval Europe. England sold raw wool to Flanders, and Flanders made it into expensive cloth. They absolutely needed each other economically, you know? But here's the real kicker that started everything. In 1328, the entire French royal bloodline suddenly died out completely without any male heirs. Edward III boldly said, "Hey, wait, my mother's a French princess, so I deserve the French throne too." Pretty reasonable claim, honestly. French nobles were like, "Nah, we don't do inheritance through the female line here." They rejected his claim completely and immediately flat out. So you've got explosive territorial disputes, economic trade wars, and dramatic royal succession drama all mixed together. It's the perfect storm brewing. This wasn't just about controlling land anymore. It became about national pride, royal legitimacy, economic survival, literally everything at stake. Fast forward to summer 1346. Edward's doing what military historians call a chevauchée, basically a devastating scorched earth raiding campaign through France. Think of it like this in soccer terms, like before the actual match even starts, he's already completely messing with the opponent's tempo. He lands in Normandy with his entire army, then starts systematically burning villages, looting towns, destroying crops, basically devastating everything in sight. In modern soccer terms, he's disrupting their build-up play, draining their stamina, and destroying their morale before the kickoff whistle even blows. Edward's tactical motto? The match doesn't start at the 90-minute mark. It starts on the away team bus. That's his entire philosophy. Philippe VI is absolutely furious when he hears about this, obviously. He immediately gathers this massive army to chase Edward down and crush him. But Edward's brilliant strategy keeps retreating north, constantly exhausting the pursuing French forces, making them march under the hot sun for days. Finally, he crosses the Somme River and strategically picks his defensive ground near the village of Crécy. Absolute strategic genius at work. Okay, here's where it gets really interesting tactically. Edward deliberately chooses a hillside position with a gentle slope. Can you visualize it clearly? In soccer terms, this is like having the perfect custom-designed home pitch. Sloped terrain, narrow approach, absolutely everything favoring the defensive team. He positions his deadly longbowmen on both flanks in an inverted V-shaped formation that creates a killing zone. Genius tactical design, right? This creates devastating crossfire from 2 angles. Anyone charging up the middle gets absolutely hammered from both sides at the same time. Then he orders his men to dig hundreds of pits in front of the battle lines, scatters deadly caltrops absolutely everywhere imaginable. Imagine a world-class striker trying to sprint at full speed, but the entire field's covered with hidden holes and sharp spikes everywhere. Total nightmare. He even cleverly uses supply wagons as a defensive fortress wall behind his troops. Military historians call this a Wagenburg formation. Edward himself is watching everything unfold from a windmill positioned on the hill, giving him a perfect bird's-eye view of the battlefield. His left flank is firmly anchored by Waudecourt village, his right flank protected by Crécy village and the River Moy behind it. The French can't execute any flanking maneuvers whatsoever. They absolutely have to attack directly through the narrow prepared front, completely trapped. August 26th, late afternoon around 4 p.m. The French army finally arrives at Crécy, completely exhausted after marching roughly 12 miles that day. Some experienced, smart commanders immediately tell Philippe, "Your Majesty, let's wait until tomorrow morning. We need to rest these exhausted troops first." But the proud French knights? They're pumped up on adrenaline, overconfident in their numbers. "We outnumber them 3-1. Let's attack right now." Philippe completely loses control of his own army. The massive force is basically moving forward on its own now, with absolutely no coordination whatsoever. First unit up to the front, the Genoese mercenary crossbowmen, about 3,000 strong. These are Philippe's expensive long-range shooters, you know? But here's the catastrophic problem. It literally just rained heavily moments before. Their precious bowstrings got completely soaked. Performance drops to almost zero instantly. Meanwhile, the well-trained English longbowmen, they smartly kept their bowstrings completely dry tucked under their shirts and hats. Perfectly prepared for rain. Plus, the Genoese foolishly left their essential Pavese shields, those big protective shields, back with the slow-moving supply wagons behind them. So they're shooting uphill against gravity, with wet, useless strings, no protective shields, against longbows raining death from above. Is this even fair? The heavy crossbow fires maybe 3 to 5 shots per minute maximum. The lighter English longbow? 10 to 20 shots easily, 3 times faster. Imagine a slow-loading single-shot hunting rifle versus rapid-fire automatic military weapons in modern combat. That's literally the technological matchup happening here right now. Within just minutes of engagement, the Genoese crossbowmen are getting absolutely massacred by the arrow storm. Arrows everywhere, bodies dropping, can't reload fast enough. They panic and start retreating in complete disorder back toward their own lines. And this is where everything gets absolutely insane. You ready for this? Philippe sees his expensive crossbowmen retreating in terror and goes absolutely ballistic with rage. "They're cowards. Kill them all. Ride them down immediately." Yeah, you heard that absolutely right. He literally orders his own armored knights to charge forward and attack his own troops. Friendly fire ordered? The enraged French knights charge forward in a fury, literally trampling their own terrified crossbowmen to death to get to the English. Pure chaos. One French count, the Duke of Alençon, literally said in disgust, "This is what happens when you hire such worthless rabble." Absolutely cold-blooded. Now picture this horrifying scene. Heavily armored knights in full plate armor charging uphill through thick mud, over dead bodies, straight into arrow rain. The English archers aren't even aiming for the armored knights initially. They're deliberately targeting the unarmored horses first. Tactically brilliant and cruel. Horses collapse screaming. Knights fall heavily into the thick mud. Can't get up at all in their 60-pound armor. They're sitting ducks. English infantry calmly move in with battle hooks, ruthlessly pull struggling knights off their horses, stab directly through their helmet visors. Absolutely brutal execution. In modern soccer terms, this is exactly like Mbappé, Haaland, and Bellingham, each attempting individual solo dribbles repeatedly, same predictable play, 16 consecutive times. No teamwork whatsoever, no tactical coordination, no adaptation to defense, just pure individual glory hunting. And they all get stopped every single time. Historical records say the French actually charge uphill 15, maybe even 16 separate times total throughout the battle. Complete slaughter. King John of Bohemia, already completely blind and old, stubbornly insists on fighting anyway for honor. He dies in the chaotic massacre. What pointless bravery. The Duke of Alençon, dead on the field. Over 2,500 French nobles and knights killed in total. The entire flower of French chivalry gone. English casualties? Historical estimates say maybe only a few hundred soldiers at most, possibly even less. The score's not even remotely close, you see? This wasn't just a medieval battle anymore. This was systematic tactical execution and destruction. System completely destroying individual stars through superior planning and discipline. Let's talk weapon technology for a minute here. Why was the English longbow so incredibly dominant over crossbows? That's an excellent tactical question. Rate of fire comparison. Trained longbowmen shoot 10 to 20 arrows per minute easily, while crossbowmen can only manage 3 to 5. Massive firepower difference. Effective range comparison. Longbows effective at over 300 meters distance, crossbows only around 200 meters. Significant tactical distance advantage for English archers. The English specifically used bodkin point arrows, specialized steel arrowheads scientifically designed to penetrate thick armor at distances up to 225 meters away. Modern computer ballistics analysis shows these bodkin arrows could actually punch clean through 4.5 millimeter steel plate armor. Absolutely devastating penetration power for medieval technology. Plus, shooting arrows downhill from elevated height increases effective range and impact velocity even more significantly. Basic physics working entirely for England's advantage. The French also brought early primitive cannons, bombards, but they were mostly used for psychological shock effect, creating loud noise and fear. England had about 5 small cannons deployed too, but this particular battle was decisively won by arrows and tactics, not primitive gunpowder technology. Think about the irony here. The actual future of warfare was already present on that field, but the traditional past stubbornly refused to adapt. After achieving total victory at Crécy, Edward doesn't just celebrate and go home. He immediately moves strategically northward. Guess where he goes next? Calais, the absolutely crucial strategic port city in northern France, key to controlling Channel trade. He besieges it for 11 brutal months straight. France can't send any relief army to break the siege because they're still completely reeling from the catastrophic Crécy disaster. No troops, no morale left. In 1347, after months of starvation and suffering, Calais finally falls to English control. England now has a permanent military base on French mainland. This wasn't just winning one important match. This was permanently securing and controlling the away stadium for future campaigns, you understand? Calais remains under English control for over 200 years until 1558 when France finally recaptures it. Strategic military jackpot for 2 centuries, but beyond just territorial gains, Crécy fundamentally changed something much deeper about European warfare and society. Can you guess what that was? The entire age of chivalry, the powerful myth of the invincible armored knight, effectively died that bloody day on the muddy field. Common peasant soldiers with simple wooden longbows had systematically massacred the noble elite knights of France. The entire social order was violently shaken. No more honorable single combat between equals. No more generous ransom for captured noble prisoners. Just efficient mass killing and battlefield execution. Proud knights died completely anonymously, shot down by thousands of arrows from invisible common archers they never even saw face to face. Utterly humiliating death. Medieval European warfare permanently shifted from romantic individual heroism to cold systematic firepower and disciplined infantry tactics. The game completely changed forever. So here we are, sitting together. 670 years later, looking back at this battlefield. What can we honestly learn from Crécy today? Technology absolutely matters in any competition. Edward had superior longbows, but it's definitely not just about having the best tech, right? It's really about how intelligently you use it. Developing tactics, intensive training, maintaining strict discipline. The complete integrated system matters most. France had overwhelming numbers. France definitely had expensive star power and famous knights. But they had zero coordination, absolutely no coherent battle plan. National pride killed them brutally. Blind arrogance killed them stupidly. Overconfidence in their traditional cavalry superiority killed them all completely and utterly. Meanwhile, England had meticulous preparation, strategic patience, perfect defensive positioning. Defense wins championships, as the old saying goes in every sport. Even today in our modern world, you constantly see this exact same pattern repeating itself in professional sports, in business competition, in everyday life. What's truly scarier and more dangerous? 11 expensive individual superstars playing separately, or 11 average players moving perfectly as one unified system? The Battle of Crécy answered that fundamental question decisively 670 years ago on that muddy hillside. And the answer absolutely still holds true today. So after hearing this entire story today, what do you honestly think? Which team would you personally rather be on? That's our story for today, my friend. Thanks for listening to this medieval tale with me.